Okay. All right, guys, we're going to get rolling. From my end of it, first and foremost, hats off to Louisiana Lafayette. Give credit to their team, a really veteran football team that came in here and really in the second half, just really completely dominated the football game. A lot of credit to them for being ready and a lot of credit for them of taking advantage of a lot of great opportunities. So, with that said, I'll certainly open it up for questions for me.
All right, the first question will come from Mark Freund of WHL. Go ahead, Mark.
Thanks, Patrick. Matt, special teams seem to be a problem today. What did you see on the coverage, the kickoff, and the punt return? And I guess just how disappointing were those two plays that really contributed to this loss?
Yeah, I think it was huge. And I think from a special team standpoint, both field returns, both opportunities to return the ball back to the field, and you know, we were out of our coverage lane, and they've got playmakers to make plays with it, and so, hats off to them. From my end of it, there's no excuse. It's something we've really worked on, and we've got good specialists. We've got the ability to be good on special teams. But today, hats off to them because they made two big plays, and like you said, were game changers.
Next question will be from John Schaefer of WOI. Go ahead, John.
And offensively, you guys kind of went stagnant there, especially in the second half. What caused that stagnation?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is, really, we kind of lost track of our run game a little bit. They came out and played some different things in the second half, so hats off to them. Played some more man coverage than they had played in the first half, and then as we tried to loosen things up, we just couldn't make a play, and really struggled to do that really the entire second half. So, but I think the negating the running game, was really an advantage for them.
Our next question will be from Zach Martin of the Iowa State Daily. Go ahead, Zach.
Thanks, Matt. Matt, what overall impressions do you have about the way Breesy ran today? Had a fumble in the first half, but seemed to pick it back up in the second half.
Well, I think we all know Brees is really talented. I don't like that the ball's on the ground twice. Those are critical mistakes. And, in the first game of the season, as you're trying to get your bearings, critical mistakes get you beat. And that's kind of what occurred today. So, obviously we know Brees is super talented. We've got great faith in Brees. But, the fundamentals and the details are still critical to our success.
Our next question will be from Jared Stansberry of the Iowa State Daily. Go ahead, Jared.
Coach, how big of an impact did losing Trevor towards the end of the first half make, and what's his status moving forward?
Well, I think the positive is we hope to get him back. I thought we played really well up front in the first half of the football game, and I think we all know he's such an anchor to the success of our offensive line. And so, anytime you lose an anchor, that's never easy. I do think Noah Jurgensen went in and, for a veteran senior here, did a admirable job of, doing his job and doing what was needed. But Trev is a game changer for us. So, that's a guy that we got to get back on the football field, and we hope he will be ready to go for our next football game.
The next question comes from Travis Hines of Games Tribune. Go ahead, Travis.
Matt, earlier this week you said that you thought you'd learn a lot about your football team today, and I know you'll obviously want to watch film to fully digest it, but what are your first impressions of where this team is?
Well, I think a team that I don't question their attitude and effort, and again, that's where you got to look at I think all of us is, from my standpoint, first and foremost is, man, did we have them ready to play? To, number two, it was fundamentals again, staying in your coverage lanes on the return game in terms of special teams. It was tackling and big plays in critical moments on defense. And it was taking care of the football on offense. And so, there was some really good growth and some things that we really put our mind to this offseason. But again, some of those critical areas, I think, again, we're all reminded that at Iowa State, you're going to have to win in the margins. And if you refuse to win in the margins, it's really going to be hard for us to have success. So tough way to learn it. But again, for us, it's a great opportunity to take what we learned today, get ourselves back, great bye week, and get ready for Big 12 football.
What's Kolar's status?
Yeah, it really's been kind of day to day. Charlie, just going through some off-season stuff and working to get him back to full strength. And, I think he's really close to being back on the football field for us.
Next question will be from Zane Douglas at the Iowa State Daily. Go ahead, Zane.
Hi, Matt. I just wanted to ask, Brock was a little bit sloppy today. What did you see out of him, and what wasn't working for him?
Well, again, I think we dropped some balls, that are difference maker balls in probably the first half and early in the second half. I think getting into a really good rhythm was hard to find in the second half. I felt like he was there most of the first half, but really hard for him to get into that. And again, we got to make plays on the ball, and then we got to do a great job of putting Brock in the best position to be successful. But as you know, I've got the utmost faith in Brock, and he'll be back ready to get better on Monday.
Question will be from Rob Gray of Cyclone Fanatic. Go ahead, Rob.
Hi, Matt. Your general impressions of Louisiana today, and especially their ability to finish. I mean, they established their running game when they needed to grind out the game at the end.
Yeah, I think hats off to them. They're a veteran football team that knows how to win and have success, and I think you could feel their confidence, right? And that's something that was really hard in the game. We had a lot of opportunities to kind of, take a really good lead and really seize momentum. And they never allowed that to really occur from our end. And then, when they had the opportunity to seize momentum, they did it. And I think that's the sign of a football team that knows how to win. And, obviously we're continuing to work to get to that point, but hats off to them because, again, they never let momentum totally swing our way. And then when they had the opportunity to seize it, they did.
Our next question will be from Randy Peterson with Des Moines Register. Go ahead, Randy.
Matt, you brought up a couple questions ago something about questioning, going back over, was this team ready to play? You think this team was ready to play today?
Man, I really felt in the first half, our speed, our energy, the way we played, I really felt that way. And so, again, you go back, you'll watch the film, and I still wouldn't change anything we did in terms of preparation because our thought process has been, A, number one, health and safety of our kids. B, number two, getting our guys prepared for a 10-game football season. And then C, getting ourselves ready to show up in the first game. And so 1 and 2, I really feel confident in that plan. And, we'll go back and evaluate it. And again, you start with yourself and then you work your way down. So, we'll evaluate it. But I sure felt that way in the first half. I thought we were fast. I thought we were physical, and I didn't question those things that normally would show up if you weren't ready to play.
Matt, you didn't take a whole lot of shots down the field today. I remember one to Landon Akers, for example, but that's pretty much it that I can remember. Was that part of the strategy, or it just wasn't there?
Yeah, again, Randy, that's a really good question. I think there were some balls pushed vertically down the field. We didn't make many plays on them, and I think that probably is the thing that was absolutely showed up and really a big difference in the game, right? They made a couple big plays, and we didn't really make any of those big plays in terms of the passing game. So, again, those things, hats off to their secondary. But I don't know if that was the plan. I know we like to push the ball vertically down the field, and to me, we didn't have much success doing that when we did.
Next question will be from Elgin Rucker at KTCI. Go ahead, Elgin.
Yeah, Coach, following up off of that, you talked about the drop just right now, and Brock having a tough time connecting down the field, longest pass was about 60 yards. Did you go into this thinking that was to be expected with how this offseason and training camps were very different for the players?
Yeah, I think you knew you were going to, at least from our end of it, we were going to have to work through some of those things. And, again, we're working through that against a very good football team. Hats off to them. I'm not in a panic mode by any stretch of the imagination. as long as the attitude and effort of this team continues, then I have complete faith that we'll have the ability to get where we need to go. But, those are the things that are obviously frustrating. And, again, you put that back on yourself as the head football coach. Is there some more things that we needed to do to get ready? But I still say, for us, it's a long haul in mind. It's going to be a long season. There's a lot of things going on, and making sure that we continue to pound away at the health, the safety, and the well-being of our kids is our number one priority. We got enough really good football players here to continue to get better at the sport of football.
Yeah, I think Brock had 2 connects for yards. One of them to Xavier Hutchinson. He had 11 targets. What did you like from him and some of those better connections you have with Brock, how they continue to develop their connections together?
Yeah, and you were breaking up just a hair, but I think you were talking about the connection with Xavier Hutchinson and some of those guys downfield. And again, those are things we're going to have to continue to evaluate and continue to work on. But I will say this, how those two have practiced, how they continue to approach their day-to-day operation is really impressive to me. And I know I said that earlier in the week and early about Xavier. That's the thing that I do love about Brock Purdy is both of those guys are willing to work. And Sean Shaw, Tariq Milton, Landon Akers, we got enough of those guys, and we'll just continue to go to work and continue to pound away at it.
Our next question will be from Scott Document of The Athletic. Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, Matt, I guess first of all, I just wanted to ask about kind of the surreal atmosphere. Did you ever take a second, but even before the game, to just kind of look around and see what wasn't here, which was your normal large crowd, and did you think about it at all during the game?
Yeah, I think, Scott, as you go out, it's certainly, different. But, man, I think for me, hats off to our parents that showed up, hats off to our amazing band, our cheer team. And quite honestly, it is what it is. It is different, but it's one of those situations that I don't think from my end either had an effect on the game or it's just different. And we knew it was going to be different, and that's just how it's going to be throughout the majority of the football season.
Do you think that the defensive backs that they seem to limit a lot of the separation that you would probably try to get downfield? I mean, how challenging was it to try to run routes to get them kind of off you and what you guys were doing, especially because they were very hands-on in some of those crossing routes?
Yeah, I think, Scott, you hit the nail on the head, honestly. Like, that was a huge difference in the second half of the game. Their ability to play man-to-man coverage and our inability to make plays with man-to-man coverage. And so, we'll go back to work on those things. What was it? What do we need to continue to pound away in our arsenal to have success? I certainly don't think it's a matter of not having good enough football players to do that. But like you said, those guys, that was the difference in the game in the second half from their defense versus our offense standpoint.
Our next question will be from Bill Seals of Cyclone Report. Go ahead, Bill.
Sacks, 2 tackles for losses for Will McDonald. Get into his game a little bit and kind of what you saw.
Yeah, I thought as I watched our football team play today, I mean, Jaquan Bailey, Will McDonald, both those guys, they looked really good. And I thought our defensive front played with great tenacity. I think really until the end of the football game, they were exactly what you expected that defensive front to play like and look like. So, really excited about Will, really excited about Jaquan. Great to have him back out there. That was a huge win for Iowa State today to have Jaquan Bailey back on the field, and just excited about their ability to continue to grow.
Thank you.
Sure.
Our next question will be from Jared Stansberry of Cyclone Fanatic. Go ahead, Jared.
Coach, this is obviously the second year in a row where you guys have come out and been, I guess, underwhelming would be one way to put it in the season opener. Why do you think that is? Yeah,
that's a great question. I think 2 absolutely different situations, in my honest opinion. There's one that, I think last year completely different than this year in terms of what it was and really what it is. But I think after I can watch the game and really evaluate you, I can thoroughly give you what it was the next time we talk. But I think absolutely different, 2 drastically different teams, in my honest opinion.
Our final question for Coach Campbell will be from Zach Martin at the Iowa State Daily. Go ahead, Zach.
Coach, just a quick follow-up on that. Do you see a trend where you guys are playing down to your level of winning closely to Drake and UNI, and then losing here tonight? Do you see that trend in seasons past? And is it?
Well, I think that's I think it's again. I think you're comparing apples to oranges, right? Like every one of those situations are so drastically different. Number one, this was a really good football team that came in here today. We knew that. Number two, playing down almost is demeaning to Louisiana Lafayette, and I don't think that's fair. And then number three, again, this is a completely different football team. So, we've worked through a process of, what's gone on here in the last 6 months in a very unique way, and I'm not embarrassed by it, and I'm not disappointed in it. But first game of the season, it'll be really interesting to see how this team continues to respond going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
It's good.